Hello everyone, and welcome to another War Thunder video with Dutch Guy. Today's video is gonna be about two things. First thing is navigating the menus, and the second thing is how do I fly, or dogfight in particular. I'm making this video because some of my friends and some other people who I know over the internet have some trouble with navigating the menus and flying their aircraft to get kills. Like, the menu for me is quite straightforward, but for some people it apparently isn't that ergonomically. So let's start off with the menus. Before you get into this screen, you will be asked to log in, and they will ask you for a control scheme. I always select keyboard and mouse in classic mode. Please do that if you want to know like the specific buttons which I'm gonna press like during dogfighting. Otherwise you have to look it up yourself what it does. After you've done that, you will get into this menu, and I'm pretty sure you will be put in the American country slot thing. The first question which I tend to get from my friends is just general questions like, how do I click another country? It's really not that difficult. If you would just look around for a bit, you would see that there is flags on the bottom of your screen. You can just click the flag, click the flag for the specific country, and it will open the hangar for that specific country. It's really easy. I actually have to point out that if you click the countries on this side, other countries will move to this side. It's quite straightforward if you're just paying attention, but some people still have trouble with that. Then I will get the second question after you've ranked up a little bit. How do I get different aircraft? It's not really that difficult. You can just go to research, click research, and then you can click on a aircraft which is within your country's rank, which is shown over here under the flag, and your overall rank, which is shown over here at the top right. If the aircraft is higher than your overall rank and or your country's rank, then you're not going to be able to buy it. For instance, right now I am at rank 3 and I can't buy a P-40E Kitty Hawk. But what I can do is buy the OS2U3, which makes it so I can buy the Catalina because I am at rank 3. The reason why I can't buy the Catalina at the moment is, well, it shows it on the thing. The previous plane must be bought. So to buy an aircraft, you click order, then it will show you how much it will cost. Well, it will already show you that, but then you just click OK. And then you have the option, it's the option, you don't have to, but the option to put it into service for, in this case, 100 lions, which is really cheap. So let's for instance say I want to put it into service. Then I just click a crew slot, in this case the crew slot for my P-26A-33, and then I click put into service. Now I have this aircraft in service. So if I would click to battle right now, then I would have the option to pick my OS2U3. But the second question I tend to get is, how do I change weapons? Changing weapons isn't possible for every aircraft, but for some it is. The way you can select certain weapons is by clicking these, what are bullet icons. If you hover above it, it will also say weapons. You click that, and then you can buy weapons for your aircraft. To buy weapons, it's really easy. You just click on what you want to buy, then you click buy. So that's pretty much it to buy weapons. But if you want to upgrade your crew, you click View Crew. And you can upgrade your crew with crew points, which you will earn by taking out ground targets, enemies, or just playing the game in generally. I'm just gonna put it into GeoTorrents. But what do these other buttons mean? You have this button, which allows you to change aircraft, because if you already have an aircraft, put into service in this crew slot, the crew will still be able to use that aircraft. For instance, in this case, P-26A. Well, the P-26A is actually a reserve craft, so you can always put it into service in any of these crew slots. But let's say, for instance, I want to put into service the F2A. Why not? Now I have the F2A in service, but if I click change aircraft, I'm still able to use the OS2U-3. That's something which is really specific about this game. If you have put it into service onto a crew slot, the crew will never forget how to fly it, which is really nice. Then you have the button test flight next to it, and then you have hangar. In the hangar you can change weapons or buy new weapons. You can look up some specific information about the specific aircraft, and you can change the decal slots. As a non-premium person, you are allowed to use 2 decal slots, and a decal slot means like you can put a picture. Let's for instance say a star on the nose. Why not? So now I have a star on the nose, everyone can see that in game. If you're really creative with the decals, you can do some pretty funny stuff. What is the next question? Oh yeah, on the top of your screen you have a couple of different menus. You have the shop, in which you can buy gold, premium account, lions. There's a store with, I don't know what the store does. Oh, it allows you to buy bonuses and campaigns. And then you have Convert XP. This Convert XP only allows you to convert a certain amount of gold for XP. So you can't rank up like instantly to, let's say, level 100,000, 1,000,000,072. You can only rank up a certain amount, and you can't rank up your overall rank. You can only rank up your country rank, which makes this game free to play and not pay to win. Then you have game modes. You have To Battle, which is also over here. You have Invite to Squad, so you can invite your friends to squad. You have Custom Battles, which are custom made game modes, battles, that sort of stuff. You have some tutorials, which I can highly recommend you try first before playing the game. Especially the basic ones, because the rewards for those are 70 golden eagles per per tutorial. So they give you free gold currency, which is almost free money. Not really, but it's free currency, which allows you to rank up all your aircraft by converting the XP, or you could use it to buy premium for, I don't know, what does premium cost? You can buy premium for 2 days because you get 250 gold. Or you can just spend it on other things such as your crew by clicking accelerated training. But what I did, once I reached, I think it was about rank 4 or 5 for the British, I was like, I'm actually kind of interested in the Germans, but I wasn't, I didn't feel like flying all the biplanes, the lower rank aircraft. So what I did, I clicked shop, clicked convert XP, and converted most of my XP. I converted all the gold to have enough pretty much it comes down to this. I ranked up all the countries up to rank 3. and from there I started ranking all the other countries up. The reason why I did this, and I can also highly recommend this, it gives you a better insight on what aircraft specific countries have. So it allows you to fly like rank 3 aircraft of other countries, which gives you good insight on what to expect from the higher ranks for that specific country's aircraft. Okay, then let's move on to... oh no, wait, the menu. The menu also has some things which I will actually talk about after I've demonstrated the flying. So let's go into test flight. I'll just put it to simplified for good measure. Weapons, fuel and ammo, unlimited. Why not? Why shouldn't I? Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, and this is the test flight area. The test flight area allows you to test your aircraft for controls, flying, shooting, that sort of stuff, without having to deal with other people, enemy aircraft, that sort of stuff. So let's, before we take off, talk about controls. I use classic controls with mouse and keyboard, which allows me to use my mouse to aim around, that sort of stuff, and it allows me to use WASD to WASD and Q and E actually to control my control surfaces. There's also a couple of other buttons which you will need to know about. You probably already know about these, but I will tell them anyway. You have F to raise and deploy your flaps. You have G to deploy your gear, and you have H, which is for air brake, but only some aircraft have air brakes, most of them don't. Then you have control, left control and shift, which allows you to control your throttle for this aircraft. I'm just gonna put it to 100 and I'm gonna deploy my flaps. If you're on the ground, it will per definition put your flaps to take off. When you're in the air and you have your gear up, it will most of the time put your flaps to landing. And if you put your gear up and then deploy your flaps, it will put your flaps into combat mode. But when do you use your flaps in combat mode? Do you even use your flaps in combat mode? The answer to that is yes, you use your flaps in combat mode. But before I'm gonna tell you how I use them, I'm gonna talk about how I use WASD, because this will influence my use of flaps. Because like per definition, you probably already figured this out, you can use your mouse to fly wherever you want without too much trouble. But if you get into a dogfight, or you want to pull off some stunts or evasive maneuvers, you want to use your WASD. Now, WASD allow you to control for your ailerons, which is A and D, and W and S allows you to control for your tail rudder, height rudder. I'm not sure what the correct term is. It allows you, yeah, the up and down thing. Knowing this, you can use in a evasive maneuver, or a dogfight, or a turn fight, or whatever, you can slap your aircraft to the side and hold S to turn really tight. But sometimes, really tight isn't tight enough. So then you press F for combat flaps, and then you turn in, and then you pull around. The reason why this is better is because combat flaps will slow you down quite a bit, which makes it so that your turning circle is smaller. Knowing this, you can now turn a lot tighter in, yeah, what's it called, combat situations. But only do that if you know that you can outturn your opponent. How do you know when you can outturn your opponent? Well, you can if you know the aircraft then you will know if you can outturn them. But I can mainly say this if you see a Japanese aircraft and you know that the pilot isn't a complete retard. Do not try to go into a turn fight with that, because it will outturn you and it will kill you. Only go into a turn fight when you know that you can win it. Never go into a turn fight with sorry. Never go into a turn fight with someone of which you know is a better pilot. Always go into a turn fight with someone you know sucks more than you, or of which you know you can outturn them. But if you don't know that, then use energy fighting. Energy fighting and turn fighting are things I already talked about in my previous video, but I haven't really gone into too much detail about both energy fighting and turn fighting. For energy fighting, I think I already told you this. You go into a dive. In this case I always tend to use combat flaps, because it allows me to climb up after the dive a lot. You just dive down, put down your fire. If you hit or miss, you just go flat and then you pull up. You raise your combat flaps instantly or immediately, because if you don't do this, you won't have enough energy for the climb. The reason why it's called energy fighting is, well, it pretty much says it. It's about maintaining your higher energy state. But what is a higher energy state? The energy state is your altitude versus speed. So if you are really high and really fast, that's good. If you are very low and very slow, that's bad. If you would just think about it, it's pretty much self-explanatory, since if you're low and slow, you're an easy target. If you're high and fast, you're a difficult target. Makes sense. But what if you don't want to energy fight? What if you want to turn fight? Well, for turn fighting there's a lot more tactics which you can use. There is Immelmann turns, there's Immelmann, you have invert loop, you have barrel rolls, you have scissors. You can, in some game modes, you can actually get your aircraft into a flat spin, so you can actually use that as an evasive maneuver. But it is something which you need to read up on. But I can at least give you some tricks. I'm not really sure what this tactic is called. It will probably pop on the screen right now. But it pretty much contains of this. You go forward, you turn your aircraft with E, or F, sorry, you turn your aircraft with A, and then you hold S. And you use your flaps within this maneuver for a tighter turn. What I just did, I went from going that direction, a complete 180 this direction. That kind of seems like something stupid, but like, it's one of the better maneuvers which I know of to get rid of someone, or to get someone off your tail, or to turn around and fly towards friendlies when you have someone on your tail. The reason why this specific maneuver is really useful is because when you do this, it's pretty damn difficult to get good shots off at your aircraft from for the person who's on your tail. There's also another way you can do this, but only do this when you know that you have a slightly higher, or in generally higher energy state. That's turn up. Use your flaps because you want to lose some speed, and then turn. But this will require more energy than the other one. But what this does, this will make it so that you go up. So if you are really low and you can pull this off, that's really smooth. You also have the famous barrel roll. And what is the barrel roll good for? You can actually use the barrel roll to confuse the living shit out of the person who's chasing you. And there's also, I think this is the Immelmann turn, which is point your nose up and then turn slightly up, and at the end of your stage your nose is down. Why would you do it like this instead of just straight turning? If you go up, you lose energy. if you turn, lose energy, and by the time that you are turning, your turning circle is quite small versus a regular turn. With, yeah, by doing this is a lot wider of a turn versus a simple inland turn. Those are some combat tactics which I tend to use in dogfighting quite a lot. But there are so many more ways that you can dogfight. These are just only some small things which I can show within this time span of this video, because there's too much to talk about when it comes to dogfighting. So let's skip forward a bit and then I'm gonna show you the landing. Okay, landing. Trying to land your aircraft is not the most difficult thing to do, but it's really difficult to learn at first. Things you will need to know to land your aircraft, like what you will see people do in arcade is like they will slow their aircraft down way too much before the landing, which isn't per se necessary. Also, the tutorial makes you land your landing on the tutorial is way longer than it really is. It's only like that in full real battles and sometimes historic battles. But for landing I just tend to ditch all my throttle, then I enable my flaps, then I enable my gear, and then I just lose enough speed, hopefully. If I need to bleed a little bit more speed, I press Q and E because it will wiggle me around and lose quite a bit of speed. And just be really gentle on the landing. You can actually slap your nose down, which will actually break your what's it called, nose gear. Man, I can't get it down. What the fuck? Oh, my landing flaps are way too annoying. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. If you break your propeller during the landing, it's no big deal because you are landing. So the only time you're landing is when your propeller is most of the time already damaged, or I'm just gonna raise my flaps because they're being annoying. The only time you're gonna land is when your control surfaces are either shot out, so you have to repair anyways, or your propeller is already damaged, so you have to repair. So you can actually damage your nose with the landing without really having to worry about it, since yeah, you're gonna repair it anyway. So that's pretty much the basics for landing. Okay, so that's pretty much it for flight controls and combat tactics. There is one more thing which I want to point out, which is one of the final menus, which is the menu button, which allows you to go to your game options, controls and that sort of stuff, but specifically it allows you to go to the game encyclopedia. This encyclopedia has a lot of information in it, from interface, game modes, controls, to tactics, stunts and history. But the main two tabs which I can recommend reading up on are the tabs within tactics, and then the specific tabs boom and zoom, altitude advantage, yo-yo and working in pairs. For stunts, because stunts, those are things which I can highly, you don't even have to read up on it, it has pictures, so it's not really that difficult. But stunts, they can save your life in combat. For instance, you can use barrel rolls to try to shake your opponent or just distract him enough so he will miss. You can use inside loops, split, that was the trick which I was showing earlier but couldn't remember the name of. Then you have, this is not really that much of a stunt. This is more of a accident which can happen in historic battles and full real battles. It's a spin. If you get into a spin, what happens is you will have more airflow on the one wing than the other one, which makes it so you will spin in a circle in the middle. It is actually a valid combat tactic if you know how to pull it off, because you can shake people really quickly because the turning circle of a spin is really tight. But there is a reasonable chance of you crashing into the ground, so keep that in mind. Then we have the Immelman, which is like the different variant on the split, which is going up instead of going down. And then we have the Immelman turn, which I also showed. Reading up on these sort of things will make it so that you have more knowledge, and more knowledge tends to win fights when it comes to air battles. Then there is 3 more buttons which you can click. You have your friends, in which you can add pretty much anyone, and you can invite people to your squad. Then you have chat. There is a general chat in this game, which once I found out, it is really helpful, because this community talks about squad sex, apparently, but if I were to ask a question about any sort of aircraft, they would most of the time respond with a valid answer. And you can also talk to your friends with that chat screen. Then there is the event log, in which you can track things which you have done lately. But that's something, I don't really check that much. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope this information was useful to you in some sort of way, or enjoyable in another sort of way. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. And if you really enjoyed this video, please click the favorite button. It helps me out a lot. It's also a good motivation for me to put out more and better content. So that's it for today. Dutch Guy out.